Most leaders change a border. Some change a government. But only one man changed the literal, biological makeup of the human race. Today, 1 in every 200 men on Earth is a direct descendant of Genghis Khan. That's 16 million people carrying the DNA of a single nomad from the 13th century. But before he was a legend, he was a ghost. He was an outcast named Temujin, left to starve in the frozen wastes of Mongolia. How did a boy with nothing build an empire twice the size of Rome in just 25 years? Was he the architect of the modern world, or history's most successful monster? His story begins with a poisoning. When Temujin was 9, his father, a minor chieftain, was murdered by the Tatars. His own clan, his own blood, abandoned his family, leaving his mother and siblings to scavenge for roots and rats. Temujin didn't grow up with a silver spoon. He grew up with a survival instinct that bordered on the psychopathic. At age 13, he killed his own half-brother, Bekta, in a dispute over a fish. He wasn't just being cruel. He was establishing a rule he would follow for the rest of his life. In the steppe, there is no room for weakness. By 20, he was a slave to a rival tribe. He escaped in the dead of night, hid in a river, and began a slow, bloody rise to power. He didn't win people over with his birthright. He had none. He won them over with meritocracy. He promised his followers a simple deal. Follow me, and I'll give you the world. In 1206, the tribes of Mongolia did the unthinkable. They united. They gave Temujin a new name, Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. Now he turned his attention outward. How did a group of nomads defeat the massive walled cities of China and Persia? They turned warfare into a science. Genghis threw away the old tribal system. He organized his army into a decimal system. If you were the son of a shepherd, but you were a genius with a bow, you could become a general. Each warrior was a master of the composite bow, a weapon with a 300-yard range. And they were fast. Each soldier traveled with 5 horses. They could cover 100 miles a day, appearing like ghosts out of the horizon. They perfected the feigned retreat, pretending to flee until the enemy broke rank, then turning back to deliver a storm of arrows. They were the world's first blitzkrieg, but with the genius came a terrifying darkness. Genghis Khan used calculated cruelty. When the Sultan of the Khwarezmian Empire executed Genghis's ambassadors, Genghis didn't just win a war, he erased a civilization. He leveled cities so completely that he diverted rivers over their ruins so they could never be rebuilt. Historians estimate 40 million people died during the Mongol conquests. That was 10% of the entire human population. In some regions, the population didn't recover for 600 years. Scientists even believe the massive reforestation of the lands he depopulated actually cooled the Earth's temperature. He was a human-driven climate event. Here is the paradox that confuses historians to this day. Inside the borders of this blood-soaked empire, there was a peace known as the Pax Mongolica. For the first time in history, you could walk from Beijing to Baghdad with a gold bar on your head and never be robbed. Genghis created the first international postal service called the Yam. He abolished torture. He granted total religious freedom, taxing the rich to fund schools and hospitals for every faith. Gunpowder, paper money, and the compass began their journey from the east to the west under Mongol protection. Genghis Khan didn't just conquer the world, he connected it. He was the unintended father of globalization. In 1227, the universal ruler died. But his final act was his most mysterious. He wanted to vanish. His funeral procession killed every living soul they encountered on the way to the burial site to ensure no one would ever find him. 2,000 people buried him, then 800 soldiers killed those 2,000, and then those soldiers were executed. 800 years later, we still haven't found his tomb. Genghis Khan began as a slave and ended as the owner of the earth. He was a butcher, a visionary, a monster, and a grandfather to millions. Was he the greatest conqueror in history? Perhaps the answer isn't in the history books, it's in our blood. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the people who built the world, hit that subscribe button.